All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're actually going to be talking about different types of sleep cycles, I guess, and a version of polyphasic sleep that we tried a few years ago called, I actually think it's called the Dymaxion Sleep Cycle, but we kind of just made it our own during this period of our life.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. I don't know how it came to be. I think you were looking up different sleep cycles or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I think you were exploring different sleep cycles. It just happened to work out. I think with my work schedule and with whatever I was doing, I was essentially unable to do everything I needed to do while getting 8 hours of sleep. At the same time you were researching sleep cycles, we were like, oh, well, if this guy can do it and if this is actually legit, then why don't we try this? Because if we do this, then we could actually get all the work that we need to get done.
Yeah, and it was only probably a few weeks, a month at the most that we did this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, probably about a month. How we did it, looking back on it, I'm like, how we did this for a month, I have no idea. That's the thing that just blows my mind. I look back on things that we've tried, like whether it's little experiments or like sleeping cycles, lifestyle routines, different things. When we start it, it seems like a good idea. And during the process, it's like, hey, this is great. But then like after you finish it and like time goes on, then you look back on it and you're like, how the hell did I ever do that? Like how, like I'll wake up after 9 hours of sleep and be like, I needed that. I needed that 9 hours. And then I look back and I'm like, I used to sleep on 30 minutes. I used to have 30 minutes of sleep. I'm like, I just don't understand how these things happen in your life. And you look back and you're like, that doesn't make any sense how it was ever possible. Because right now, I'm tired and I just had 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, your body's insanely amazing.
Adaptable.
Adaptable.
It you tell it what to do. If you give it enough oomph, it's going to happen. And
it will literally do anything for you.
It's wild. Okay, so go over this. What is this sleep cycle? What do people do? How do people get involved?
Amazing.
You don't want to get involved with this.
Okay, let's start from just briefly some basics. So there's polyphasic and monophasic sleep. Monophasic is the type of sleep that is normal for most people. So it is a chunk of sleep that is just one major chunk of sleep. So it's 7 to 9 hours generally.
So a normal sleep cycle, 7 to 9 hours.
Would be
and that's just one chunk at night.
Monophasic.
Monophasic.
And then when you get into polyphasic sleep, this would be sleep that is broken into multiple chunks. So you'll see this in Latin America or places like that where you actually have
Mexico, because they have the little, not the fiesta, the siesta. The siesta fiesta, the afternoon party.
Yeah.
Where if you've ever been to Mexico, basically it shuts down. It shuts down for an hour during the day in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, yeah.
Where people, basically just shut shop and have a little sleep, have a little rest, which is really odd because in North America, there's no way this has ever happened. It just would be the weirdest thing if you walked into a store and the dude was sleeping there and you're just like, hello? Sorry, I'll be back in an hour. I'm just having a little sleep.
Yeah, it's just so foreign to us.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, so that would technically be called a polyphasic sleep. The type that we actually did, some famous ones are called the Everyman or the Uberman, but the one that we actually did is called the Dymaxion, which is literally 30 minutes of sleep 4 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Which sounds insane when you think that the average person needs, 6 to 9 hours of sleep. And, the average, normal sleep is 8 hours, roughly around that. So this thing, I think also if you were to look at the science of it, it's probably a way to slowly kill yourself. I'm sure there's some sleep scientists out there who would say, yeah, if you do that, basically you are killing yourself. Torturing yourself. The thing is, I think these things work. They're fantastic. When we did it, I will talk about it in a second here, but it was good. The biggest issue with these sleep cycles is your routine, because you cannot get interrupted one time. And that's the biggest challenge. Whereas when you sleep one time, you do your 8 hours at night. If something comes up and you're up till, let's say you normally go to bed at 10 and you wake up at 6, let's just say that's your 8 hours. If something happens and I have to stay up till midnight or I need to stay up till 1 a.m., whatever, it's fine. I can stay up till midnight. I can wake up at 6 a.m.
And
maybe
can bounce back.
I'm a little tired and it's fine. You are doing one of these sleep cycles and you miss one of these sleep cycles, like you're screwed. Like, especially, you know, the Everyman, or you do this other one. I can't remember the name.
Dymaxion.
Yeah.
Uberman.
Dymaxion, especially because it's 30 minutes. You get 30 minutes of sleep every, like, pretty much 4 hours. Like, you're up for 4 hours, then you sleep. So you miss that 30 minutes, you're really, like, you're destroyed. Like, your body just starts really having a hard time. That's why I think it's an interesting one, but it's great. But you have to be hyper focused. You have no social life. Like, there's just so many. You have to give up a lot of things. But I think there's a time and a place for something like that, especially if you're starting a business and you need to, like, hustle like mad. You have deadlines. Like, I mean, that's what kind of got us into it. You were researching it. So I had a full-time job mixed with a bunch of freelance work came up that I just couldn't say no to. And I was also trying to start a business at the same time. So there were 3 things going on, and pretty much, like, our schedule at that time was we would wake up around 4 a.m. We would catch a bus at around 4:30, roughly, 4:45, something like that. Around 4:45. So we wake up at 4, catch a bus at 4:45. We get to the gym for around 5:30, go to the gym for an hour. Basically, then I would get to work by 7 a.m.
Yep. And
stay at work until you would go to work.
I would go to a cafe, actually. At this time, I worked from 4 p.m. to midnight at home for Shopify.
So you were you would just stay downtown and do your thing.
But I would work on some kind of business for like 6 hours at a cafe, and then I'd leave. Mm-hmm. I'd probably have a nap when I got back, and then I would start work at 4. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have a nap at like 1 a.m.
Because it was more so like during the day we wouldn't get the sleep in there, because the same thing. Like, I'd wake, we'd be up at 4 and I wouldn't sleep until I finished work. Mm-hmm. So it was up at 4, bus at 4:45, at the gym for 5:30, workout till just before 7 o'clock, and then I would get to work for 7, which is just down the street, and I work from 7 till about 3. Luckily, my work was really nice, and they were like, you know, I don't care when you come in and when you leave. It's just 7. It's just do your 8 hours. My whole thing was, okay, in order to make time for everything else, I need to get there early. So work from 7 to 3. By the time I get home, it would still be like 4:30. My goal was to get home for 4:30. Sleep from 4:30 to 5, and then basically, you know, work from 5 to 9, sleep at 9 for 30 minutes till 9:30, then basically be up till past midnight, and then it was sleep around 12:30 to 1 in the morning, and then once again you do that 12:30. See, this is the thing, is I don't even think we were getting the 4 hours of sleep, because if I would get home at 4:30 and sleep till 5, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'd be up for 4 hours. That would put me at 9 o'clock. Then I would sleep from 9 to 9:30. Be back up at 9:30, and that would be 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. Sleep at 1:30 till 2. Yeah. And then I'd basically be up for 2 hours before we'd get on the bus again to go down to the gym to then do work and to repeat the whole thing.
Just before we left.
Yeah, it was
to get that 4th one in.
Yeah, maybe somewhere, but still that only comes to like 2 hours.
No, that makes
it was no. It was something like this.
About 2 hours.
I think it was like this. We were following this sleep schedule, but to even like a further extreme, just because you didn't have the time. I couldn't sleep at work, obviously, but it was interesting. It's doable. The fact is, it was doable. I'm so surprised that somehow we had the energy to go to the gym.
I just remember going to the grocery store and being like such a zombie, just walking around, forgetting what it was like. Everything felt like a dream. Everything was fuzzy and everything just felt like a dream. And it was so weird. Like, my brain was functioning at a different level, like not very clearly.
It was, you were alive and you could do stuff. I mean, I think for me too, like, I was programming at the time. Basically programming while not having any sleep is extremely challenging.
Because your ability to think of like the future or planning or strategy is very limited.
Yeah, there's like no creativity. Luckily, it was just like, here's the task, code it, tick the box, done.
Yeah,
code tick. It's like boom, boom, boom. Like, it wasn't. If I had to actually like engage in a conversation, I think that was the part of the problem. Is I would go to these meetings and literally just fall asleep. Like, I just.
Because you like when you're living like this, any kind of like polyphasic sleep where you are sleeping for like 30 minutes, you can fall asleep anywhere at any time.
That was the wild thing, is when you get home at 4:30.
We would sleep on the buses too.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. That's how we got those extra hours in, because you're right. I would sleep on the way down on the bus, and on the way back, I think I'd also sleep. It was just like, and you would be, you're out, right. You're out so fast. Like, the moment you close your eyes, like boom, you're asleep. I would actually set alarms on my,
on the bus.
because I did one time, didn't get off in time, fell asleep, missed the stop, and then I had to walk back and kind of screw the day over. But
oh, right. I remember that.
yeah, I would actually get on the bus and set a timer. I would put it on vibrate, and then I would just hold it in my hand. So it wouldn't like bug anybody else on the bus, but it would start vibrating after like 30 minutes. So basically I would just make sure that it would start vibrating like 10 minutes before I needed to get off the bus. But it was ridiculous. Like when I look back on that, I'm like, why in the world did we do that?
I feel like there's a pattern with us. We always try some like really to challenge ourselves in very strange ways, just like to experience life in different ways. And this was one way that literally I think the only reason we did it was because you had so much on the go.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll do this with you because obviously it's a cool idea. I want to try it too.
I'd be down to do it again. It's a fun thing to do. I would never, don't say never, but I wouldn't really incorporate this into like my daily life as like, this is something I do now like on an ongoing basis. But I think these things are fun to try. It's interesting to see what your body can do and how your body can adapt. And it's also interesting to just be able to see how your body behaves is a really interesting factor in it. You're definitely more zombie-like. You're not as creative. And I mean, but like you don't know until you try it.
Yeah. And also it's the fact that, or at least from what I've read, that's like the phase of just getting used to it. The adjustment phase is very blurry and fuzzy. I think if you actually stick to it for a long enough period of time, you get used to it and you adjust to it. I don't think we stuck with it that long enough to.
But I think your lifestyle has to fit this because, for instance, if let's just say I have nothing going on, like I have a 9-to-5 job. I wake up, I go to work, I come back at 5, and that's all I have. Like if I don't have a lot going on, you don't need to do this sleep cycle, and I don't even think you could. The only reason,
you have to have motivation.
You have to have insane, not even like you have insane motivation, but you have to have like stuff going on.
A reason.
I had so much work. It was just like go to the job, come home, do all this freelance stuff, then work on the business. It was pretty much, I had to be working 24/7 essentially to make it work, especially the nighttime stuff. Like when you sleep from like 12:30 to 1 in the morning, if I woke up at 1 in the morning and I didn't have anything to do, like if I didn't have a purpose, if I could like, okay, I'm just gonna like stand here or I'm just gonna go sit on the couch and watch TV or play some video games. Like if
you were gonna fall asleep.
If that was the extent of what I had to do, this is not gonna work. Like what's the point? I'm torturing myself. I don't need to go watch TV. I don't need to go play video games at 1 in the morning. Like there's no point in me being up. So go ahead, just go to sleep. Doesn't make any, don't do this. It's stupid. But if you have crazy deadlines, if you've taken on too many projects, if you have a 9-to-5 and you're also working on a side hustle that you really want to take seriously and put the time into.
You have a baby.
What? You have a baby. Automatically just turns on. Like I think this is just natural when you have a baby. But if you don't have things that require that much time commitment, this is stupid. Only way I could do that is because I knew this stuff had to get done at a certain point in time. I could not sleep. I have no motivation to stay up if it was like, okay, let me just like pretend to be busy.
And that's like the guy that I was speaking about before, how he blogged the whole experience. He was a blogger and his wife worked a normal job. So, but she didn't join in with him. He was literally like just sleeping weirdly by himself. And he would be like in the living room on the couch in the middle of the night, trying to stay awake, or like midday, just exhausted on the couch, trying to stay awake. And then he said one of the reasons that he actually went back to monophasic sleep was so that he could actually go to bed with his wife and have like a normal life with her.
Yeah, you have like it's just weird. Like it's not like you do this to spend more time with each other. We spent less time, I think, when we did this because we were awake all the time and you're working.
The quality of time that you're having with these people, like when you're so tired like that, you're not going to be having like amazing conversations or anything.
No, you just like, I just want to sleep. I think what happens is like, your productivity level definitely drops, but at the same time, I feel like I was so focused at that time in my life, like that month that we did this. same thing. Everyone can relate to this. When you're busy, you have a lot going on, you have things you need to get done, you're energized. Maybe you're a little stressed out. That gives you a little oomph, a little bit of energy to kind of get things done. And I feel like that's where I was at. So for me, it was just like, I'm just billing by the hour. So I'm like, if I can bill 24 hours a day, hey, great, this is fantastic, versus just billing, a few hours. Yeah. Would I do it again? I don't know. I don't know. I think it would be one of the things I would do in phases. I could see stuff happening in the near future where it's like, you know what, let's try this out for another month, like a 2-week period or a month. I do think it's worth trying, but it's an ongoing thing. I really don't know how that could work. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, I mean, it'd be interesting to do something like that and try it again, but from like a learning perspective and say, okay, hey, I'm going to try to learn something, sleeping 20 minutes every 3 hours. Like it'd be interesting to try it. But you have to have a goal. It's like, are you trying to learn a new skill? Are you trying to launch a business? Are you trying to,
what are you going to do with this extra time that you find yourself with?
Yeah. It cannot be going for playing video games or watching TV.
Unless you have a goal with your video games and you're like, I need to get this, and this done.
True.
With my video games.
True. That's true.
You need to have a goal.
But like,
way.
I guess not. Okay, if you play video games like competitively, like that's like if that is something you're
like
pursuing,
if you're a Twitch streamer,
right? Versus I'm more so just like I'm gonna go play solitaire at midnight for like 3 hours because I have to be awake at midnight. No, that's probably what I would do. I'd play something like solitaire at midnight and be like, I'm just doing this because I can, because I don't have to sleep because I'm a god man. I'm a god human. Sleep is a waste of time. I don't need to sleep. I'm doing this, or it's like I don't eat. Yeah. I don't eat food anymore.
You're basically challenging what everyone else is telling you. Like
you're challenging science.
Yeah, screw the science. Honestly,
right.
I'm not just going to accept everything that everyone else is telling me.
I've tried the no food thing, and it's pretty much I'll get to like it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like I'm dying. My body is shutting off.
Why do I feel like I'm dying?
I shouldn't feel this way. And then what I do, I just like, I'll go pop a caffeine pill. I did that for a while. That was like my life where I would basically eat nothing. And I would wonder why I'm low on energy. And a lot of times it was just like, I don't know what was going on. My IQ must have been 2. I'd wake up, probably have half a caffeine pill, which is 100 milligrams of caffeine or something. Pretty much like that was my diet. I'd wake up, have a caffeine pill. I didn't really want to eat some food. And then like in the afternoon, like, oh, I'm fading. I could feel it. I could feel myself fading a bit. I'm like, oh, I just need some more caffeine. So I just like taking another half a caffeine pill.
Like how much water are you drinking?
Like nothing, like little, like maybe like if this is a cup like that, like a quarter cup, just enough
to like so dehydrated,
just enough to get it down. And it was just stupid. I'm like killing myself, going to the gym, hardly sleeping. And then for some reason, just taking caffeine pills periodically to give you like that boost.
Which is like white powder.
Yeah. Imagine like someone dying and just getting hit with like adrenaline shots, just like keep them alive. That's probably what was happening with me. Just stupid.
This is like another great way to like shake up your life.
It is. I think that's actually one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
If life gets boring, if you're, whether you're bored of your 9 to 5, whether it's your business, I mean, I don't care what it is, shaking your life up is fantastic. I think this is what this whole thing should actually be about.
Yeah.
Is if you do something like this. I know we just recorded a video on the 75 hard challenge.
Yes.
Watch that. It's a really good challenge that if spend the 2.5 months to do the 75 hard challenge, it shakes up your life like mad. Mm-hmm. This is another thing. Do this for like a week. Do it for like 2 weeks. Even a week, I think, is insane.
You'd be a zombie for a week and you wouldn't really.
But if anything, it shakes things up. And that's what I think is important, is that if you find yourself in like a mundane state where you're waking up and you're just bored, or it's like, I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. You're getting in the shower, you're brushing your teeth, you're going to work, you're cleaning the house, do whatever.
You're on
autopilot. You do something like this, it just shocks your system. Your system's like, what is going on? I've never done this before. This is the weirdest feeling. Your brain
all of a sudden wakes up from its autopilot, and it asks you like, what are you doing? Yeah.
If you are in a place where like, I just need to change things up, even if you have like no ideas and it's like you just want something new and you don't want to go traveling and you don't want to go spend money and do all these other things, just change your sleep cycle up and do something extreme like that, and you'll do it for a week and then just at the end of the week, going back to your normal routine is going to feel new and fresh again, because you just shook everything up so heavily, and then you're going back to what you were doing. Well, what you just were doing is now going to feel new and a little more exciting, and your body's going to probably feel a lot better, and you're going to recover from what you just put yourself through. So
yeah, and like
win both
think
ways.
of all the activities you could actually do within the time that you're not sleeping. You could totally journal the whole thing, or like start filming yourself at 1 a.m.
Just start vlogging.
Just start vlogging.
Video yourself doing this. It'll probably be the most hilarious
funniest
thing, because you'll be pissed off nonstop. I feel like if I was doing it, I'd like be holding a lens up by itself, but essentially
and just like staring at it.
Yeah, you just be like sitting there like looking at it. But I feel like if I was to do it, I would be so ornery.
Ornery?
Ornery.
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 I don't think I was necessarily I wasn't upset or anything, but it was just like so duh. Just blah.
Okay, and I don't think when you're doing these types of sleep cycles, at least when you're just in the adjusting period, your brain doesn't have enough power to block your like automatic responses. So if something annoys you, you're gonna react without thinking, because you don't have energy to block or like filter that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have snappy judgments, snappy reactions.
Going back to the sleep, it is interesting because unlike a normal 8 hours of sleep, when I go to bed, obviously it probably takes me half an hour to an hour to actually get to sleep. And then, you go through all the sleep cycles, light sleep, REM, all this stuff. And then you wake up, and there was the wake up process. Whereas with this thing, it is like this, you're so tired all the time that the moment you hit the bed, it's like, boom, I'm out. Like you're just like within 30 seconds, you are asleep, and you were like deep sleep instantly. And then the alarm goes off. And what's so weird about this sleep cycle is the reason why it's 30 minutes is it has something to do with, if you go over 30 minutes, if your body, and I am no scientist by any means, but essentially
right.
If you sleep beyond 30 minutes, your body hits a state where if you wake up during that state, you are groggy.
Yeah.
So the idea is you go to sleep, you're so tired that you're going to hit a deep sleep immediately.
Or like REM sleep.
It's like REM, and that's the idea of this, is you hit REM so quickly, you sleep really well for 30 minutes, and then you have to wake up at that point, because it's something like if you stay asleep for another 15, 30 minutes.
You're going to go into deep sleep, which is if you wake up during deep sleep, that's when your body does not want, it's healing, it's deep healing. And that's why I'm kind of confused about these sleep cycles.
Because it's deep healing, but you're not actually, you never deep heal, so you never heal your body, and you just slowly, that's what I mean, you slowly start dying. It's a slow death. It's interesting. Like it's interesting seeing how your body behaves, that when like you can go to sleep for 30 minutes, wake up, and if it's done correctly, like you are awake. Like you feel like you just slept. You feel like you got some energy,
and a little more rejuvenated.
And also, I think in your mind too, you're telling yourself 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. It's not like, okay, I'm awake and now I have to take on the day.
That's true.
The other thing that switches with this is there is no sense of day. Which is I
forgot about that.
Which is what's super weird about this is, so number one is you wake up and you do feel like you just got some rest, but you lose sense of day because there is no end to a day. Unlike sleeping where you have that whole, like, it's wind down, I'm having dinner, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to, listen to some music, maybe read a book, and then go to bed. Like
you wake up feeling refreshed, and it's a new day.
And it's breakfast, and you have these routines that you do. So it's your body's accustomed to, like, hey, this is the beginning of a day, this is the middle of a day, and this is the end of a day. With this thing, there is no end. It is a continual 24/7 cycle. So you switch over to being like, I don't know, I'm just awake. You just feel awake all the time.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about this. This is the most mind strangling thing, because you all of a sudden there are no days. It's all just one massive day. And there are no nights because it's just light and dark, but you're awake through everything.
And knowing like half of the day when you're awake, no one else is awake. Everyone's asleep. It's just kind of weird. It's a cool feeling. Unlike, it's not like doing like graveyard shift where you're asleep when everyone's awake and then you're awake. I mean, kind of that, but it's like you're always awake. And it's like you just worked an entire day. You were up for 12 hours doing whatever you were doing. And then you just had your little 30-minute nap around midnight. And now you're back up, and you're going to be up till 4 hours, and then go to bed for 30 minutes, and then you're up again. So it's definitely it's just fun because you kind of like see life in a different perspective when you just don't sleep and you're just kind of always up, and it's different. It's new feelings. It's different perspective. It's just very different, and it's not something I would say do incorporate this into your daily life, but like try it. It shakes things up, gives you a new perspective, and it's something just to look back on and be like, I did that. I tried it. It's pretty cool. Not going to do it again, but it's cool.
It's one of the things that I am actually pretty proud of us to do. Like it's a cool experiment, and it's something that I'll always look back on.
I think we should do it again. It'd be pretty fun to document it because we did it.
We can do it.
Yeah, we just did it, and we didn't really think. We just did it out of necessity.
We didn't document it.
But it would be fun to actually document because looking back on it, I'm like, I sit there and I say, yeah, this worked really well, and it worked for our needs at the time. But it'd be interesting to document and actually see our mood because I can't really remember. All I remember is a little hazy and it was a little like maybe a little.
I remember being very zombie-like and being conscious of it. Just felt like a dream, like you were just kind of slow motion through a dream. That's kind of how it felt.
All right, well that's it. So that is what is this? What sleep cycle?
Sleep cycles. Well, Dymaxion.
I am
Polyphasic.
I'm like polyphasic sleeps. Names. I'm terrible with big words. I'm terrible with a lot of things. It's got to be simple. It's got to be sleep cycles.
Sleep cycles.
Simple sleep cycles. Multiple sleep cycles in 24 hours. That's what I can do.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be back.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Let us know. I mean, if you guys are enjoying the content, let us know. If you have new things you want us to talk about, new things you want us to try, things you're interested in, let us know.
Yep. We're here every week. We're pumping out lots of content.
Every week. I mean, we're here all the time. We're here all the time. So
it's true.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. We're Corey and Cait.
All right. See you guys later.